Welcome to another Classical Gabfest All Games Extravaganza. Normally, this podcast is a discussion about the ever-changing world of classical music, but each week we begin the episode with a prelude, an amuse-bouche, if you will, wherein we give ourselves a musical listening challenge. This week we've got four such challenges for you to play along with. I am your host for this week, William White, and with me as always are Tiffany Liu and Kensho Watanabe, and we've also got the rest of the Classical Gabfest team with us today, namely our official-unofficial intern Joseph Vaz and our social media guru Sunny Sia. As has become our custom on these thrice annual All Games editions, we are going to start with an update of the big Prelude scoreboard. And who better to update us than listener statistician Christopher, making his first on-air appearance on the show. Welcome, Christopher.
Hello, it's so nice to be here.
So, Christopher, tell us, where do we stand going
Wait,
into
before
this
Christopher reveals
round?
this, Christopher, did you get what I sent you to kind of pad the stats a little bit? Yeah, you got that package?
Yeah, well...
He seems unimpressed, Kensho. Whatever you sent.
All right, well, out with the stats.
All right, so for the individual games, Tiffany is in the lead at 12 wins.
Surprise, surprise.
Followed by Will at 10 wins. But Kensho is at 9 wins, so maybe that will get changed today.
No, I'm not paying you enough, Christopher. All right. Message received. All
right, and then for the team games like Classical Chronology and Stolen Strains, we have Team Will and Kensho at 2 wins, and Team Tiffany and Kensho at 1 win, and then Team Tiffany and Will is also at 1 win.
Will is just not a team player, basically.
I
think I'm the weak link in that.
Kensho, I attempt all sorts of bonhomie and team spirit with you, and you reject it every single time.
Stats don't lie. I'm sorry to say.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The most interesting stat for Name That Tune, aka Stump the Hosts, the listeners are at 9 wins, but the hosts are at 5 wins.
Incredible.
Kind of not as bad as I was expecting.
We're clawing our way back.
These games are really hard. Like, that's no small feat. 5 wins is very impressive.
You should know as a regular submitter to name
a regular stumper.
Yeah, regular stumper.
Hey,
exactly.
It's hard to pick out good excerpts that won't give too much away.
Yo, you're
They're
very
also
good, obviously.
still idiomatic.
Didn't realize that the listeners were having such trouble coming up with these excerpts to stump us, right? We have to appreciate that as well.
True.
That is true. I think people give a lot of consideration to these.
Oh, yeah.
Really. I mean, it's pretty clear that they do.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Thank you for that update of the scoreboard there, Christopher. That, of course, adds all sorts of tension and drama to today's All Games episode. And we will see how things shake out and look forward to getting the next update from you in the future.
All right, sounds good. Good luck with the games today. I'll stick around for a round or something.
Okay,
Thanks,
cool.
Christopher.
All right, with that, on to our first game. Joey.
This week we'll be playing a round of everyone's favorite game, Name That Tune, aka Stump the Hosts.
And now Free Zone presents Name That Tune.
Music games don't come any simpler and any more intimidating than Name That Tune. And this game is especially fraught for our hosts, since none of them know what they're about to hear. That's because these Name That Tune submissions come from you, our loyal listeners. Your hosts make no guarantee that they'll be able to identify precisely what these pieces are, but we hope that hearing their thought processes will elucidate something about how they listen to music and provide some entertaining musical banter. So that none of them can see the submissions, I'm once again here to officiate unofficially. Today we'll start with listener Satish's submission.
Oh gosh. All right.
Can we just move on?
Get it out of the way first.
Terrible.
That's good.
My nemesis.
Okay, here we go.
I don't know the pieces, but I've got a very strong suspicion about the composer.
Oh, do share.
I think it's Elgar.
Really?
Even that last chord shift right there sounded just like the just before the first cello scale of the cello concerto. And weren't there like sixths in there at one point in that little tune? And I don't know, the orchestration sounded like it. I mean, my first thought was Walton, but then I settled on Elgar. You know, clearly a romantic orchestra and romantic harmonic style, I would say.
I didn't pinpoint as much as you did, but I was thinking romantic British, so we're definitely in line there, Will.
Tiffany and Sunny, any ideas?
I'm with you, Will, on Elgar. Something was speaking Brahms to me at the very beginning with the harmonic language or the solos, but then towards the end, it does speak Elgar to me.
Well, you know, Elgar was a bit of a Brahms acolyte. I mean, you know, never, I don't think met him, but certainly considered him a major influence on his music.
Can we diversify a little bit?
I think we should.
I was actually, I was almost going towards like the American folk school, like, not quite Grant still, but maybe like, I don't know, a little bit of Beach in there, a little bit of like Bond, I don't know.
Well, why don't you pick one of those to put in our basket?
Okay, I'll put Beach in there.
Elgar, Beach, any other ideas?
Why don't we put our Stanford, like, every time he comes around, it seems to be like, we really whiff that one.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we should have known. I mean, okay, romantic, English, Anglo.
Right. It falls in the basket in that way. Why not? There was a solo instrument too, right? Am I just crazy about that as well?
I think it was passing orchestral solos.
Yeah.
I don't think I was taking a leaf from your book, Kensho, about listening to the miking, and it didn't seem like anything was kind of prominent enough to speak concerto. It seemed like passing orchestral solos, which tracks with, I think, all these composers.
I think we're good with Stanford.
Sure, let's do Stanford. Stanford, Beach, and Elgar.
Well, this was actually a different British composer. This is from Gerald Finzi's incidental music to Love's Labour's Lost, specifically the 8th movement.
Okay, I like Finzi.
Yeah.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you multiplied all of our suggestions by each other, it would come out as the actual correct answer. Unfortunately, you can't do that.
No.
Satish has his day again. Very nice.
Today's second submission comes from a new submitter. This is from listener Adriano. Here it is.
A lot going on in there.
Yeah, that was a real journey.
It was like Smetana and like what else was in there? It was like a melange of like 5 different composers.
Yeah, because we hear some like kind of Tchaikovsky building devices, and then there's this like very patriotic kind of aspect of it with the bum 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 bum.
Yeah, the triangle and that the symbol that throws everything off.
Yeah, it brings it really to the military. I mean, at that point, are we talking about, I guess, Russia or the U.S. pretty much?
I liked Kensho's.
It's not Smetana, but like it's in that.
Oh, it could be.
Do you think
it's in
so?
that? We're on like a certain track of music, I feel like, because I mean, I also heard like with the little ba-dum ba-dum kind of rhythm, like that took me like Mendelssohn Weber side of so we say the big romantic divide, and then it kind of took me down that Tchaikovsky path, but I like Smetana. I think that's pretty good actually. I would like to put that in our basket for sure.
What are some Smetana adjacent?
Well, Glinka, sort of. I mean, I had trouble nailing down a year on this, or a nationality. When it started, I would have said more like early romantic, sort of 1830s or 1840s. And then by the time it finished, I could have easily been into the 1860s or 1870s. So, I mean, Glinka is a possibility. nobility. Who else is a Czech of that generation? Not Dvorak. It didn't really have that Dvorak ring to it, I don't think. I don't know. You've got me very stuck on Smetana now, and I'm having trouble.
I'm not necessarily sure that we should stay in like the Eastern Europe unless it's to like. I mean, I think we should. Are we putting in Glinka as one of our folks?
Putting in Glinka? Maybe, I don't know.
Because I mean, if I were to pick one of the Eastern Europeans for this, it would be Russian. Like, it's just so square in harmony. It doesn't have any of the inventiveness, even of Smetana.
What about a French composer? I mean, this is. I was also thinking it had a little bit of a Berlioz-ish vibe at times, but as you guys have pointed out, there was so much going on in there.
The orchestration's a little bit too blocky to make it French, no?
All I can hear now is like the theme from Tchaikovsky 6, Movement 3, bum ba-dum, bum bum bum. Like that's all that's been going through my head after jaga daga 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 daga. Like that's what I mean by a Tchaikovskyan build because he's using those devices.
Right, and then and there's all of those little triplet rhythms were moving parallel chords too, and that kind of got me in the French mindset a little bit, I think.
How long do you think this work is?
Oh, could be anything. Like, what is this? Is this?
Right.
I mean, this could be a symphony. It could be an excerpt from an opera. It could be part of a ballet.
Right.
It could be a, sort of.
That's what I mean. It's really interesting to kind of
poem.
extrapolate the data and be like, okay, this is from this kind of piece.
Right.
It's hard to say.
I truly have no idea. Do we want to say Smetana and Glinka and any other?
Glinka and Smetana. I think we're clueless. I just want to know who it is now.
Yeah, me too.
Well, this is the Opus 1 of a composer I barely have heard of, Franz Schreker, an Austrian composer from around the turn of the 20th century. This is from his Symphony No. 1 in A minor, Opus 1. The second movement.
Wow, that's the second movement.
Okay.
Very cool.
Learning opportunity there.
Schreker. How do you spell that?
Schreker is Schreker.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Adriano.
This last submission comes from longtime submitter, listener Jeremy.
Of course.
Cool. Very Petrushka.
Right.
Yeah, definitely early 20th century, maybe as late as 1940. Pianist.
Folk
influenced. I would say French.
Oh, you went French. Interesting.
My first thought was Poulenc.
Yeah, me too.
I think you know what my second thought was. My old standby, Germaine Taillefer.
Oh my.
So weird. That's going to be my guess.
It's not bad.
I mean, I don't know about Poulenc, but I actually was sort of thinking Mio. Because it has like this kind of parallel chords, lots of kind of clustered parallel chords. That speaks a little bit to me like his bitonal-ish leanings, right?
Is it weird that I had like a weird Hungarian vibe to this as well?
I think it could be that. I mean, some of those like round dance type, which means what? Like Janacek?
Janacek.
No.
I think this would be a little weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know which Hungarian. I mean, well, I don't know which Hungarian composer you would pick.
For this? Yeah.
Is like, do you guys? It's like I can't get the Shrove Tide Fair out of my head right now. Is that based on
Fair vibe?
But it's I mean, it's based on kind of primitive music of a different culture, right? It's not. I mean, it's not fundamentally French either.
No.
So maybe that's what Kensho is getting at.
Maybe, yeah. I want to say Kodai, but I don't know. Probably not.
Of the Hungarian composers of that era that we know about, I would think that would be the best.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
Guess.
Okay. Kodai, Mio. Oh no, he said Poulenc.
Taillefer?
I said Taillefer. Do you want to say Poulenc or Mio?
I'm going with Mio for me.
Okay.
Our basket has 4 slots this week.
Oh yes, that's right.
I don't know if we get more than our usual 3 per basket. But, we also are, we haven't had our hint yet.
That's true.
So maybe this is when Joey wants to bust a move here.
He's not looking like he wants to tell us much.
No need for a hint.
Oh, someone's got it.
Do you want to try to narrow it down to one or just count it? I mean, I consider it counted already.
Oh, so we got it. So
All right.
one of us is right. Right?
Mio Taifer Kodai. I think it's Germaine Taifer.
Do you know anything about her music?
I know that I always guess it, and that
suggesting
listener
Taifer.
Jeremy is I think listener Jeremy is doing a shout out. I think that he's playing into my hands here.
All right, fair.
Well, a broken clock is right twice a day. This is Germaine Taillefer's Suite Burlesque for piano four hands.
Hilarious.
Thank you,
Hilarious.
listener Jeremy. Much appreciated. Making an honest listener out of me. So that was one
we
out
got
of
one.
3.
One of 3, not bad.
Okay,
Well
so
done, Will.
the listeners chalk up another one on that one, but hey, at least we got one.
I used to like this game.
Oh, this
I
is
don't think
the
I ever
great
liked
game.
this game.
I love
I'm
this
just
game.
kidding. I like this game.
I'm collecting, standard reppy submissions for a standard rep episode of Name That
Oh,
Tune.
interesting.
Oh,
So hopefully by February that'll
that's
happen.
even more embarrassing for us, though.
All right, that just about does it for this week's first game. But before we move on, we'd like to remind our listeners that these listener-generated Name That Tune rounds are a regular feature of our show. So, as ever, we invite you to try and stump our hosts. Check the show notes where you'll find a link to the form where you can upload a 30-second unidentified clip of classical music for them to try to identify. And with that, it's time to move on to the next game. Kensho, what do you have for us?
And now our next game is everyone's favorite game, Truth, Truce, and a Lie.
Nulla sono io per nulla. Non mi inganno. Vero dunque, onde ciò non lo comprendo.
Sì, e gli è vero.
Le mie grazie mi rendo.
Okay, here's how this works. I have chosen 3 musical excerpts, all ostensibly by the same composer, but in a sinister ploy, I have in fact chosen one excerpt that is not by the composer at all. My co-hosts will listen to these 3 excerpts and try to discern which gives lie to the following statement. This week's excerpts are all by John Williams, not the guitarist.
Ooh, interesting.
But before we get to the excerpts at hand, let's discuss what makes John Williams sound like John Williams. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that there are very much 2 John Williams, and I'm not just talking about 2 people who are in the world of classical music, both named John Williams. I'm talking about the composer John Williams. There's very much 2 sides of his musical personality, and we've sort of touched on this a little bit in this podcast, which is that there's the cinematic side, which is what we all know him best for. And then there's the concert music side.
Can you describe the concert music side?
I would have
Like,
a lot
I'm not
more.
sure I
I'd
have
have a
any
lot
adjectives.
more trouble describing the concert music side. With the cinematic music side, I mean, it's like very clear-cut melodies. Like he is a composer with a great melodic gift, big orchestrations, magical kind of sounds in the orchestration, a lot of harps, swooping scales up and down in the woodwinds and the strings, big brass fanfares he's known for. But above all, I think of it as his melodic gift for creating themes that are really memorable and catchy.
Yeah, same. But okay, didn't we get a John Williams in the Name That Tune not that long ago? And didn't you guys? I had no part in this, but didn't you guys get it unaided?
No, we got it aided with a serious assist from Joey, who put it in context to us. From the sound of the music, none of us guessed John Williams, and we were all a little bit surprised when we got it. So in terms of the concert music, I think that this is going to be tricky. I wouldn't know a pithy summary of how to describe John Williams' voice as a concert composer.
All right, let's do it.
All right, here is excerpt number 1. All right, here is excerpt number 2. finally, excerpt number 3. All right. What are your thoughts?
I think the first one is John Williams. It had a very clear melodic outline. It was slightly sappy. And then it had those really crisp little dun, 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 little woodwind responses. And all of that struck me as being very John Williams-esque.
And I think it is the John Williams. I mean, it reads very movie, cinematic theme. Like the other two excerpts, I would more tend to believe that it's possible that those came from some sort of symphony. The other thing about John Williams is that he has an extremely long career.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this reads to me like maybe from the earlier, I almost recognize a leitmotif in there. I mean, it's not AT, but it's like, it's something maybe from
ET
around,
adjacent. Yeah,
it's from around that era, I think.
Close Encounters, which I don't know, but people go on and on about that, how great that film score is. Yeah.
It is so good. Close Encounters is probably my favorite.
Oh, interesting. The second one I also thought was
okay. So on the face of it, when listening to like the beginning 2 seconds of it, the third one is obviously the outlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we know Kensho at all, it doesn't feel like that should be. I think Kensho would have challenged us more than that. The tempting thing about the third one is that it reads almost minimalistic for a few.
Sounds like John Adams.
20 seconds.
Yes.
But then we get this like glockenspiel color, which like that's Harry Potter,
Yeah. It's more textural. It does have that sort of minimalistic, mechanized sound a little bit.
But as we know, John Williams has a concert side that he's drawing on all these idioms, which he obviously does know about.
That's right. Yes.
So it's not outside of the realm of possibility at all that he would have decided that he was going to, and that sounds symphonic, that last selection. I mean, it doesn't sound like a movie score to me.
I agree. And I think that it sounded a little bit too much on the normie side to be John Adams. When those bass pits came in, I was like, oh, okay, I don't think that he would have done this. The second one, what do we think about that? I mean, that also sounded creditably like it could be John Williams.
Yeah, here's the thing about John Williams is that he's defined the paradigm of movie writing, right?
That's right. There's a lot of copiers.
I not so long ago did a Harry Potter concert, and there were selections from all 7 movies, and the franchise has had 8 movies. And the franchise has had 3 different primary composers, the first of who was John Williams, the second, I forget which one's Nick Hooper and which one was Patrick Doyle, but I think it's Doyle and then Hooper. But like that to me felt like one of the other 2. It didn't feel so much, it didn't feel like, adventurous or enough, or kind of extended and developed enough. So I think I'm going to go with number 2 for this. I'm sure that that's with like a 25% certainty interval, right? But
yeah. I think I'm going to bandwagon with you, Tiffany. I think I'm going to go with number 2. It sounds enough like it could be John Williams, but I think it might be a feint. Sonny, where are you on this?
Tiffany didn't mention that about Kensho's possibly. Yeah, I definitely would have gone with number 3.
I have a history of deviousness on these games, so Tiffany's always alerted to this.
Choosing John Williams by itself is like, oh God, what's wrong with you?
I think I'm going to go with number 3 since the 2 of you.
Let's diversify our basket of stocks here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry to say you didn't diversify enough. Is actually number 1.
No.
That is the lie.
I see what you mean, Tiff.
Sorry to say that. So it's interesting to kind of give like a behind the scenes look as to how to like plan this game. And Will always tells us like, oh, find like what would be the good feint. like the good fake, and then go from there. And so I was listening to Eric Korngold's symphony, and this is an excerpt from like a scherzo movement from his symphony. And I was like, holy it sounds exactly like John Williams. And so I was like,
wow,
it's pretty amazing, right? It's like there's got like these like, you know, string interjections that sound like Star Wars, you know? And
well, it's so tuneful.
Just,
like it sounds like a Dead Light motif. Like it sounds, you know, it sounds exactly like the kind of thing that's going to go into, you know, E.T. concert version finale medley.
Yeah. It's a good fake. And then the second excerpt was an excerpt from one of my favorite John Williams scores, actually, not Close Encounters, but Minority Report. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh, Minority Report. Okay, sure.
It's like very much like you said, like it doesn't sound very much like John Williams, but there's little moments. And then this last excerpt is, in fact, Tiffany, you're right. It's a concert piece called Soundings. That was this particular performance is, I think, the LA Phil or something with Gustavo Dudamel. So very interesting.
Oh, John Williams, you continue to surprise us.
Well done, Kensho. Nice job there.
All right. Does it for Two Truths and a Lie. Let's go on to our next game. Will.
All right, now it is time for a round of everyone's favorite game, Who Dis? Jean Sibelius famously said, "A statue has never been set up in honor of a critic." And indeed, some critics have gotten it famously wrong. In this game, I will read a critical quote panning a now beloved piece of music, and it will be up to my co-hosts to guess what piece is being referenced. Now, these quotes usually come from the august volume Nicholas Slonimsky's The Lexicon of Musical Invective, a notorious and hilarious book beloved by classical musicians. But for this round of Who Dis, I have decided to take a different spin on this. This is going to be Who Dis YouTube Comments Edition.
Oh, yes! This is amazing.
All right, guys. So we've got 3 pieces. And, you know, usually we give hints. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I have a number of comments for each one. And probably each one will reveal, or maybe in some cases not reveal too much about each one.
This is how the game should always be played. This is genius.
All right. This will be... We'll see how close this comment gets you. One sunny day in April of 1965, a 12-year-old friend of mine, Bob, told me of a strange response his parents made to his question about what it was like making love. They brought him into the living room, where a record player was, and set the needle on a spot in the early part of the recording of this piece. His father said, "Son, when the music starts, your mother and I will leave the room, and you listen closely to the music. That will be the answer to your question, and we will be back in 3 minutes." I did as my father suggested and listened very closely. While listening, it was like that feeling I get when I start on a swing, going up and down slowly at first, then getting really high and jump off. I'm going to like making love when my turn comes. That is what Bob said.
Oh my God. What a gem. Oh, the internet is just amazing.
All right. Any guesses, or do you need another one?
What?
Is the year 1965 telling in any way?
No, I would say it's not. I mean, except that, you know, this piece must have been written before 1965. You can presume that. Do you want to discuss amongst yourselves first, or do you want another?
Yeah, what could this be? Do you guys have
3 minutes?
A 3-minute piece.
I mean,
No. He said to listen to 3 minutes of this piece. It's not a 3-minute piece. There was a 3-minute selection that was supposed to explain what making love was all about.
Oh, so this is not even necessarily at the beginning of the piece to the climax of the 3 minutes, but there's 3 minutes.
There's 3 minutes of this piece because it was on a record player, so they set the needle right starting at where it should be.
Oh, so that doesn't narrow it down at all.
Yeah, right. Okay, here, I'll give you another.
I mean, I would go Tristan and Isolde.
Yeah, or super normie, like Tchaikovsky, Romeo and Juliet.
Right, but there's no 3-minute chunk of that actually is because every time that the love scene, the love scene comes around, but it kind of
a 3-minute chunk there, no?
Yeah, but where's the climax?
They just said they're coming back in 3 minutes. No one talked about climaxes.
Oh, I guess so. When you're a teenager, anyway.
Okay, you guys are sort of, you're in the right region. Neither of those is correct. But here's
Great.
one that I think, a comment that actually is going to be very helpful. How did he write all this? Oh, to be a fly on the wall when he first sat down and penned this on paper. Did he hear it and write down what he heard? Did he just mix motifs and add things on the score and see what came out? Obviously, he has such an advanced knowledge of harmony and of orchestration. But to convey a story, or at least representative ideas that are progressive in nature so as to convey some abstract story, how does he manage to capture the senses of our imagination so well? And to all of you taking auditions, good luck. I had my fair share back in the day.
Mixing of motifs. I mean, I'm still in Wagner land. Maybe Strauss?
Pursue that line of thought.
Okay. Heldenleben?
Think about that last line there.
Oh, Don Juan.
Auditions?
Don Juan.
Don Juan is the correct answer.
Oh, okay,
Very
fair enough.
nice. All right, here's the next one, and I've got a few different comments for you here. I just played this with my youth orchestra, and oh my God, what a piece. I am a bassist, and I had such a difficult time getting it up to speed. But we got it, and it was a wonderful piece overall. Mr. Blank, you've outdone yourself again. Okay, so there maybe one clue in there. All right, so this is a colloquy. So this is a series of, there's a comment and then some responses. And there's at least one important piece of information in here. Mostly it's just kind of funny. All right, the comment is, the English Queen is the only person left alive who has seen this composer live. And then the response is, Queen Elizabeth was born in 1926. This composer died in 1791. What are you talking about? Please don't write on the internet if you don't understand a joke. Please don't write on the internet if you don't have better jokes. Please present your better joke. Just ask your mom. She should know. And then somebody actually did write a pretty funny joke. In the beginning, God said, let there be light. By then, the Queen already owed 2 months of electricity bills. I hate to commit lèse-majesté on this podcast, but anyway. So there's one important piece of information in there.
Well, you said 1791, I think, was the year, right? Which narrows it down to exactly one candidate.
So then it's Mozart, but which symphony?
Well, maybe now you need another comment. Here's one. This is one of my favorite overtures in opera, not counting the Gilbert and Sullivan operettas. Bravo. The response, such pedestrian taste, lol.
I think Sonny's got this one, maybe.
No, I was going to say Mozart 35, but then it's an overture.
Overture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Nozze.
And one with a challenging bass part, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And one that would get attempted by a youth orchestra, which I think makes it Don Giovanni for me.
To me, I was saying Nozze di Figaro.
Is that the one with I got them all mixed up. I'm trying to find, because there's isn't there a lick that's like
Oh yeah.
And I don't know which one that is. I'm sorry.
That's Don Giovanni,
Don Giovanni.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. Well, then I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
It's youth orchestra, so what else are they going to play for overture? Magic flute? But
yeah, magic. I mean, Le Nozze is not inconceivable either.
Well, pick one, or each of you pick one.
Right. I'll go with Don Giovanni, I think.
I'll stick to my guns. We'll say Nozze, why not?
I'll go Nozze.
Okay.
Sonny and Kensho have it. Yeah, it's the Marriage of Figaro overture. Le Nozze di Figaro. Very nice, guys. All right, and here's your last one. All right, here's the first comment here. I've been a heavy metal fan my whole life, and this is one of the most metal pieces ever.
Shostakovich?
You're sort of on the right track there.
Really? I mean, Shostakovich, like, screams metal to me.
And I said you're sort of on the right track there.
I know, but, like, sort of? It's like, okay.
Sort of, yeah, sort of. Not quite on the right track. Here's another comment. I played this in my band in 8th grade, the whole thing. I wish it was recorded because we had the best middle school band in the city, and it was fucking epic.
Oh, to be a high schooler again.
Yeah, exactly. That one was just fun. Not too much info in there. Okay, here's one that'll get you a little closer. This might sound silly, but those bells with the strings starting at 13 minutes and 4 seconds hit something inside of me, and I got unexpectedly choked up and teary. God damn, that's an unbelievably beautiful sound.
The whole thing, meaning that it's a multi-movement something or other, probably.
It's metal. It was played in middle school band, and it's got bells and strings as well, so there's like multiple arrangements of this piece.
You guys want another comment?
Okay.
This one's pretty funny, and it'll get you if you read between the lines correctly, it'll get you close. I want this to be played by a live orchestra at my funeral. I'm taking as many people with me as I can.
What the hell?
Here's another one. In my 9 years as a cellist, playing the beginning of this still remains one of my favorite experiences. It was so much fun.
William Tell?
1812?
Oh, yeah.
You decide if that's correct. Here's another comment. My daughter was only 1 year old, and I put this music on. She listens to this music, and she knew exactly. When the canon started, she put her little finger up and say, listens, the boom booms. And she smiles at me. She was so adorable. Never forgot these moments.
Well, the boom booms give it away, don't they?
Yes, they do. And if that's not good enough, this is the top comment. 12,000 likes on this comment. When the Russians played this while Napoleon was advancing, the song was so powerful that he got blown apart.
I can imagine how that's spelled.
Exactly. Yeah, 1812 Overture. Very nice, guys. That was a fun and different round of Who Dis.
That's great.
I enjoyed the format. I hope you guys do.
I agreed.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some more of those in the future. All right, great work there, guys. On to our fourth and last game, Tiffany.
And now, it's time for everyone's other favorite game, Back to the Future, aka Retrogradus ad Parnassum. Johann Sebastian Bach was famous for his crab cannons, musical compositions that could be played forwards and backwards, but even he might have had a tough time with this one. Here's how it works. I have prepared 30-second excerpts from well-known classical pieces with the audio reversed, and it will be up to my co-hosts to discern what piece is being played. This is a competitive buzzer game, so the first person to buzz in will get a chance to answer. If they get it right, they'll win points equivalent to the remainder of time in the excerpt. For example, if they buzz in with a correct answer after 5 seconds, they will get 25 points. If they answer incorrectly, they lose the points, and the other players, or players as it were today, get the option of answering or continuing to listen to the excerpt. If those players answer incorrectly when they buzz in, the first player can try to answer again and recoup that amount of points. All right, you guys ready to play?
Very much so.
Okay, let me see if I can set up my timer here. And here is excerpt number 1.
Buzz.
What do you have, Kensho?
I think it's Beethoven Emperor Concerto.
You're right. Okay, you are here at 22 seconds in, so that means you get 8 points to Kensho for the first round. Okay, cool. Going on into round number 2.
Buzz.
Kensho.
Nutcracker Overture.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, that was in at 8 seconds. So you now have a total of 30 points.
Yay.
Onwards.
Buzz. Is it Roman Carnival Overture?
Nope.
Oh
Would
no.
any of you guys like to steal?
Can we keep going?
Yeah.
Oh, Buzz. Peter and the Wolf. What the hell? That sounds so bizarre.
That's my favorite part of this reversal. This is like hilarious sound. Okay. In at 24 seconds, which gives you 6 more points for a total of 36.
Well, don't forget Will's negative points. Let's make sure we tally those.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, what did I
Negative
have?
30 for Will.
It was not negative 30. How
No,
dare
it
you.
wasn't 30. He was in at 8 seconds with that guess. So,
that's
negative
minus
22. Yeah. Okay. Damn. Next.
Buzz. Young person's
Will
guide.
just got. Will is like so mad.
Damn it.
All right, Kensho. I didn't actually hear his guess.
Oh, Young Person's Guide.
Yeah, that is the theme of Young Person's Guide. For 16 points, which I can't do math. What were we at? We were at 38, and that's plus 16 goes to 52 points. Okay, last
Should
excerpt.
I just sit this next one out?
Oh boy, I just want to end it with not negative.
Not
That's my goal.
okay.
Buzz. I believe it is the. If I just say Carnival of the Animals, did I get it? No, I have to be more
Really? You
specific.
got to Carnival of the Animals, but you can't get the the movement?
Is it the aquarium movement?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Where was I in at?
You were in at 17 seconds for 13 points.
Oh man.
Almost.
Almost.
If only if you hadn't been so hasty on the Roman Carnival.
Yeah, I know. So what did I end up with then? 9, negative 9.
There's definitely a threshold, probably around like 16 or 17 seconds, where it's probably worth just buzzing in and guessing at that point.
Yeah, you're right.
But there's like definitely like I don't know. I'm still trying to like figure out the slider of like risk reward on this game.
Well,
It's
Kensho, I
interesting.
think you've got it pretty well solved. You and your 52 points over there, and me and my negative 9.
Oh, I could have had 60.
Well, that means that Sonny's in second place with 0 points and no attempted answers. Nice job, Sonny.
Honest, I didn't get any of those.
We're experienced veterans of this game.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
This is a bit of a mean game to play with somebody who's not in.
It's just it's really bizarre. Once you get like the hang of how it sounds backwards, then you'll start to like pick it up. That's like how I don't
Well,
know.
what
The
was-
first time
I-
we played this with Will, I mean, like we had no
Yeah, he
fucking
gave us a
idea.
piano concerto, and the both of us were like, "Is that a clarinet?" Okay, well, congrats to Kensho for that veritable sweep, I would say.
Haha.
Well, let's finish up this All Games episode with our last mixtape of 2021.
In our classical mixtape, we each recommend some music that's caught our ear this week to share with our listeners. Will, what do you have this week?
Well, in anticipation of the new year, I've decided to embrace my new persona as a CPE Bach person. I've been terrified of it happening, and here it is. So this is a little piano miniature. It's called a pièce de caractère, a character piece. It's called Lali Rupalich. And I don't really understand much more about it than that, but I heard it described as Rococo disco, and maybe you'll understand why.
I want an 8-bit video game that I can play on my cell phone with that as a theme music.
I agree. Yeah, it would be.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Sunny, what do you have this week?
For this week, I have the Danish composer Per Nørgård, his piece Voyage into a Golden Screen. It's considered one of the first spectral pieces written, and I just find that it's a very different kind of listening experience. Everything can be a lot slower, and everything is more tempo oriented, so as to speak.
Wow, that's how long is this piece?
That's 18 minutes.
Oh, okay.
There are 3 movements, I think,
Wow.
and they're all very different. No, the first movement's only 11 minutes.
So, I mean, it may be worth like, what do you spectral meaning what, and what would you recommend for how listeners should get into that listening experience?
So spectral, from what I understand with my limited knowledge in composition, is that everything's based on the spectrum of a frequency. So everything is sort of in frequency as opposed to pitch. And it can be a slower listening experience in that you allow the sounds to just evolve. So it's more about the process of one sound going to another as opposed to vertical harmonies or horizontal things that we usually latch onto as we listen to music. So it's a very, very different kind of experience, but it can be a fun one when you get into it.
Very cool. I think it's our first spectral piece recommended on the mixtape. So history being made this week. Tiffany, what do you have for us? Not spectral music, I see.
You see correctly. This is a recent performance of the Dvorak Violin Concerto. This clip that we're linking has the entire concerto in it, but I like the third movement. It just reminds me of kind of spring and new beginnings and has good energy to take us into the new year. So this is, as I said, a recent performance by Hilary Hahn, Andres Orozco Estrada, and the Frankfurt Radio Symphony.
This is a great performance. I watched it when it came out. It's really good. And you know, one of my favorite orchestras, as I've talked about many times on this mixtape.
And one of my favorite violin concertos. I mean, maybe top 3.
And one of our mutual favorite violinists, as you know, we've discussed many times before too.
We definitely have favorite violinists here on this podcast, and they're both featured here because we love Hilary Hahn, and we've talked a lot about Augustin Hadlich as well. And so it kind of links very much to my next suggestion, which is Giovanni Bottesini's Gran Duo Concertante, which is actually written for violin and bass. And this is actually just like a rehearsal clip. This is just I think catching just the very end of this piece and just the virtuosity that's involved in this little tiny clip of this piece is amazing. So I recommend people checking out the entire piece, but definitely check out the video of Augustin Hadlich on the violin, Xavier Foley on bass, and Chelsea D'Souza on piano. On the bass.
Yeah, I mean, the most
Insane.
fun thing about non-piano and non-violin virtuosic music is when you have trouble identifying the instrument that is playing.
Yeah, he's playing all super high upper harmonics on the bass, which is something you can do.
Xavier's he's a classmate of mine from Curtis, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. He also is a composer and writes music as well for bass and orchestra and stuff like that. He's just he's a big star. All right, well, you'll find the links to all these and to our full classical mixtape playlist in the show notes.
And with that, it's time to wrap up this episode of the Classical Gabfest. I'm William White, and on behalf of Joey Vaz, Sunny Xia, Christopher Luzon, Tiffany Liu, and Kensho Watanabe, I'd like to thank you so much for listening and to encourage you to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app. We'd also love your help spreading the word about the show on social media, where you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can reach us at classicalgabfest@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy listening, happy new year, and we'll be with you next week.